Hey y'all, so today we're moving on into Proverbs 31 verse 27, and let's read through this one. She looks well to how things go in her household, and the bread of idleness, gossip, discontent, and self-pity she will not eat. This one has a lot of things for us to, I'm not going to say meddle in, let's just talk about. The Passion Translation says she is a watchman over her house and family. And the definition of a watchman is to keep under guard. I think it was Strong's Concordance, either that or it was the Greek lexicon. The Amplified says she looks well into her house, and that's what the King James says too. But that well there means to observe accurately. And that is paramount. It's necessary, absolutely necessary for such a time as this. Because the enemy is crafty and deceiving and beguiling and all of those things that Genesis describes him as. And he comes in, and we've talked about this before, not guns blazing, because if he came in with, the horns and the pitchfork, we'd never let him through the door. But if he comes in disguised, the Bible says, disguised as an angel of light, then we must be, as Peter says, sober and vigilant. And as this Proverbs 31 woman who does so much for her family, the most important thing that we can do for our family, that we can do for our children, is to guard and to watch. To observe accurately. Now, I can see how the thread can weave from she opens her mouth in skillful and godly wisdom, and then she is observing accurately. See, accuracy requires a spirit of discernment. So sometimes things that we might see, there might be things under the surface that are root causes or root problems. And the things on the surface, the weeds don't just need to be mowed down, they need to be dug up. And so when we are observing things in our home, when we are observing things that our children are doing, when we are noticing things that are taking place in our home, we must do it accurately and in a spirit of discernment. Father, if show me things, show me what's going on here. This is the problem. I see that this is new. This is just now coming up. Where do I look to this? Getting that skillful and godly wisdom to protect and guard our homes. To be a watchman, to keep under guard. And we've talked about this ad nauseum almost in the Deuteronomy, and how God gave such intentional laws to the Israelites to teach their children, and how it was really non-negotiable that you must teach your children, and that our living is for the next generation. What we're doing right now, we might think it's the prime of our life, or these are the best years of our lives, but everything we do is for the next generation. So she looks well, observing accurately what things that are going on in her house. And the bread of idleness. So the bread would be the food of idleness, the substance of idleness, or bread could be like fruit, the product of idleness. Gossip, discontented, and self-pity she will not eat. And you've heard the saying, what is it, idle hands are the devil's workshop or playground or something like that. There's no time for idleness. That enemy of yours who roams about like a lion in fierce hunger, seeking whom he may seize upon and devour. And I'm going there right now because that is in Peter. 1 Peter 5:8, that he says, be well balanced, temperate and sober, vigilant and cautious for that enemy of yours. And so there's not time for us to not be engaged. I think that's the biggest thing. Not that we're not permitted to have rest or Sabbath or renewal and refreshing, but there's not time for us to disengage from what's going on in our family. 2 Thessalonians 3:11 says, he says, indeed, we hear that some among you are disorderly, that they are passing their lives in idleness, neglect of duty, being busy with other people's affairs instead of their own, and doing no work. And see, when we are disengaged from the call of the Father, from what he has given us to do, that's when Satan comes in, and that discontented, that self-pity, and that gossip begins to brew and begins to, well, it seeds, the Satan plants seeds. And so this Proverbs 31 woman will not eat the bread of idleness, but she is accurately and well observing what's going on in her household. We must be engaged. We are called to watch and keep guard over our homes. And we'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.